Welcome to this new podcast, Common Sports Insiders. And I'm very thrilled today to welcome the General Manager of Fribourg Olympic, Oliver Vogt. Welcome, Oliver.
Thanks for having me.
It's a really I'm very excited to welcome you here and just to have the opportunity to talk to you, learn more about how you run your organization, Fribourg. As we were just discussing in preparation of that podcast, Fribourg is really known for basketball, has a tradition of basketball. What can you tell me about that tradition in Fribourg? How do you live it?
Well, first, again, thanks for having me. I'm also excited to be here. I listen to a lot of podcasts, never
Yeah.
done one, so yeah, happy to be here. So your question, can you just repeat it again,
So, how
please?
do you live? What's the tradition of basketball in Fribourg?
Yeah, it's a long tradition. Basketball's been around in Fribourg for a long time.
Yeah,
Always with lots of success as well. And in Fribourg, yeah, we have hockey, which is very popular,
indeed.
and we have basketball, which is also pretty popular.
You're
So
actually neighbors.
we're neighbors, yeah, and we have a good relationship.
Yeah,
It's funny because they're obviously in a league that's better developed. Their stadium is bigger. Uh, Club is more developed as well.
yeah,
And but like you say, we are neighbors. We are there on one side. They're kind of a big brother that we look up to, but then again on our side, we have the success in sports. We have all the trophies.
yes.
They have less.
Rather none.
Yeah, well, so yeah, but it's a good. It's nice to have them right next door.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there's lots of synergies, and that I'm also trying to kind of exploit more and more. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, today we would like to speak also more about being a general manager. We know there have been some changes in Fribourg. We read the news, and now you're back as the general manager of Fribourg. What's like to have this switch between being a player and now being a general manager, knowing you had a really great career, you won trophies, and being able to make that shift shouldn't be easy. It's pretty challenging.
Oh, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, maybe take it back a little bit. Already, like the step from being a professional athlete
Yeah.
just into the into a regular career is a big challenge for lots of athletes. I think.
Yeah.
For very few, it's an easy transition because you kind of, as an athlete, you're doing what you love and you're doing it with a lot of emotion and passion and yeah, excitement as well. And it's very hard to find that same thing in something
Yes.
else afterwards. And so,
I guess you miss it.
for sure. I mean, I think everybody does in some kind of way. There's definitely things I miss about it and things I don't miss about it. You
Yeah.
know, but yeah. So I think a lot of athletes struggle with it. That's uh, also why there's organizations out there that kind of help athletes with that.
Yeah.
But well, we're not here to talk about that. But anyway, so my personal journey was that in my last year of basketball, I went to like an exotic location in Mayotte,
Yeah.
played a year there. I think we
Great
could
experience, right?
yeah, great experience. It was probably, I mean, it was my best year of basketball, just with the most experience, most emotions, most like, but I think we could do a different podcast about this altogether, so I'm not going to get too much into detail, but this gave me a chance to kind of reflect a little more. What do I want to do afterwards? Because it was
Yeah.
kind of clear in my head that this was going to be probably my last year
Yeah.
playing. And so what I decided is then I was going to educate myself more
In sports management.
do a master's in sports management. So
Yeah.
once I get back to Switzerland, I then started my master's in sports management in Macolin.
Yeah.
And I did this for 2 years.
Knowing that you wanted to have a career in sports afterwards, or you just thought this is a good fit?
Both.
Okay.
But I didn't have like a specific idea of what I was gonna do yet. It was like I would love to stay in sports, not as a coach or not as a player, but
Management.
Yeah, exactly. So this process took a little more than 2 years. During that time, I was also maybe for a year, I was employed by Swiss Basketball as like a coordinator for the national team, which also helped me to gain some kind of understanding for the being on the other side of it. But after I graduated, or even before, I should say, I moved to the States. It was more for personal reasons to be with my wife to be. And
so did you experience basketball there as a professional, or it was just following your wife in this case?
I was following my wife in this case, yeah. And then basketball was still part of the equation over there. I mean, obviously, I was following the NBA, and I went to college and NBA games over there to watch. Also played in a men's league, a recreational men's league, every once or twice a week to just go play, which was fun. And but basketball was not the main thing anymore. It's for sure
at this stage of your life. Yeah.
So I then got into. Eventually, I found a job for a ticket broker, brokerage firm, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot to do with data and numbers, and also IT, I would say. And
so tech related.
Yeah, tech related. And but it was I really enjoyed it. The company had also a very good vibe and a very good culture. So yeah, and well, to make a long story a little bit less long, eventually
that's a transition from being a player to a general manager.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a straight line.
Yes,
I mean, it's definitely all kinds of ups and downs, And so, well, on the personal side, I also found a family over there. I had 2 kids.
Yeah.
2 boys that are now 5 and 7 years old, and but then COVID came. I lost my job over there, and other things happened, and we as a family decided at this point to move back to Switzerland, and so we did that move at the end of 2020.
Yeah,
and that's, I think, because before I didn't really have that like after career blues, I would say, because I always had like something lined up and always something
being challenged,
something exciting, But then coming back here, I had a project actually that I was thinking about doing, but that didn't end up working out. And then I was just here.
What do I do now?
Nothing really lined up. Plus, it was COVID, so it was like hard even to meet people and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a challenging time because I was kind of searching for something.
Yeah,
and also for a job eventually, because at this point, I mean, okay, eventually I signed up for unemployment.
Yeah.
But since I was away for so long, I didn't get any benefits either.
Yeah.
So also financially, eventually I had to do something to kind of, because as a basketball player, I didn't earn that much money. I could just live for years.
Yeah. So you're not LeBron James.
Yeah. So in any ways, eventually I found a new challenge in finance as a financial consultant.
Yeah.
Which I started doing that, which I learned a lot in this position. And
totally different.
Totally different, yeah. still also with numbers, which kind of was good, but it wasn't my passion. I mean, I was doing it. There was lots of positive things about it. Like I said, I mean, I think I grew as a person,
Yeah.
and yeah, but okay, it wasn't my passion, but at the same time, I was still trying to pursue my passion because I was also a basketball agent or
Okay. So
starting
you
as a
were doing
basketball
finance
agent.
and doing managing players.
Yes, it was
Okay.
something that I was like kind of trying to grow,
Yeah.
by myself. I had with some partners in Germany.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was going well. I mean, it was a lot of time invested for not a lot of financial returns,
Yeah.
but other than that, I mean, I was really enjoying it because especially the kind of relationships I formed with some players that I've represented. That was giving back a lot to me,
Yeah.
to have them
There
in a
was
good
more than money
situation.
in the process.
Yeah. I mean, it was not a short term project; it was a long term project, right? I was trying to build something,
Yes.
and
And that was in Switzerland.
that was in Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I also had players playing outside of Switzerland. Obviously, you work internationally as an
Yes.
agent, but yeah, I was in Switzerland and based in Switzerland, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and then to finally come to the
Fribourg.
well, not conclusion, but the next chapter, through my through my activity as an agent, I was obviously in touch with different teams.
Yeah.
Among others, Fribourg, which is a team I've played for as a player for 6 years, 6 seasons.
Yeah.
So
And winning a couple of championships with them.
yeah. Okay. Always got to mention that, of course. And yeah, so I've had a good relationship with the president, and he then approached me saying, yeah, that their general manager is stepping down and he's looking for a replacement. If I could imagine, taking over.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I was interested. It was a great challenge for me, and pretty quickly we found an arrangement for me then to start.
Could you say it was a dream come true, or more like sounds good? I think I can step in this role.
Um, I'd say a mix. I mean, it's definitely something that I really wanted to do. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think it was the perfect step at this point for me, and that I've always wanted to get back into basketball, give back to basketball. So it's definitely something that I was very happy to get that opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that you accepted, you find the conditions with the committee to work as a general manager.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a balance to be found between the day-to-day operation and the long-term vision. How this is being shaping up in Fribourg? Are you in charge of that vision, or this is in collaboration with the committee, or really your job is to make sure that the team is running properly?
Definitely. I mean, kind of the day to day, the urgent stuff and everything, to balance that with the long term kind of strategy and vision.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big challenge for me. It's not easy to exactly find the right balance. I think because there's so much stuff that is urgent that needs to be done right now. When you go to the office in the morning, you open up your emails, you have 20 emails, everything is urgent.
Yes.
So, but I've kind of learned how to deal with it better now, and I've definitely one thing I've done, for example, is really blocked certain times in my agenda every week.
Yeah.
Where I focus on solely kind of the projects, the vision, the strategy, and so on.
Okay.
Where I don't.
So you block some time now
Yeah.
to just think about this. And do you collaborate with anyone or with the committee to help you in that process? Or
Yes, I mean, there's times where I do reflections myself, but
Yeah.
there's also times where yeah, obviously I work with the committee. I mean, I would say I exchange myself a lot with the president. Uh, we talk a lot about strategies and what's next, what's to become. Also with the coach as well. I mean,
So the
uh,
three main people would be the president, the coach, and yourself in building this vision now.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, more so the president, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's the committee obviously as well is a very important part of it.
yeah,
Right now, it's a bit of a restructuring phase.
yes,
So but that's definitely going to be the goal. I mean, it is kind of the to be honest, it is kind of the committee's job to create that vision, to
that
create that
framework. Huh?
strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah. So in theory, I'm the one that then supposed to execute this, right?
yes, yes,
So, but obviously within these big goals, there's all kinds of different strategies you need to do to
yeah.
then arrive to that. So that is then more my cup of tea. Or
And would you say, because Fribourg has been not only competitive, but they have been winning for a long time.
Mhm.
So in this case, the objective is always to win. But I guess, what is your objective also as a structure, as an organization? How do you see this happening in the future?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, and it's also one I probably ask myself every day. But yes, it is important for the organization to grow as well. I mean, that's why, in my opinion, we've also participated in the European Cup
Yeah,
because, I mean, because the league has been getting a little less competitive, I would say, than it used to be.
yeah,
So, but for us, this is no excuse or nothing to not keep growing as an organization. We still have to do
to be
what's
ambitious.
best for us
Yeah,
to to grow. Yeah. So that's part of the reason why we do a European Cup, so we can challenge ourselves and see what can we actually reach, how far can we go.
yes,
But that's on the sporting side, right? Then on the other side is more the organizational side, where we have lots of challenges, lots of things that we need to improve. uh we're trying to get more engagement with the fans. We're trying to get more people in the gym.
yes.
We're trying to have a better experience for the fans and so on. So these are all things that we're working on. I mean, yeah. And
And
yeah.
do you believe that you find the right support? Typically, as you know, we are working with different teams, and usually it's a lack of volunteer that sometimes is missing within the organization. How do you, or what is your vision to try to gather or federate people around the organization to grow in that sense?
Yeah, well, lack of volunteers, I'd say we do have a good amount of volunteers.
Yeah,
I think yeah, okay, it's getting harder to find volunteers, I think, than it used to be. That's a fact, but we still have a lot of people that want to help.
yeah,
I think it's more a challenge of like, okay, how do we use them in the organization that they can actually bring something?
to be efficient.
Yeah, to be efficient. You don't want just to have somebody for stand around, So
Yes.
that's one challenge. And maybe just an example. One thing that's been happening is that there's been just a fan club that
Yeah.
has been created in Fribourg.
Like a cup,
Sorry?
like a cup, like a ultra kind of
Well,
of supporters, or
uh,
more really a bunch of people really there to support.
well, I would say there's a lot of kids. There's some kids in the fan club. I mean, they come
Okay.
with their little drums and whatever.
Okay.
Not little drums, big drums, I would say. And
Yes.
yeah, anyways, give a good atmosphere during the games
Yes.
already. And it's been growing. They're trying to grow, and we also, as a club, we look for that, and we try to help them grow. And this is definitely a project, and I think it's very important to be close to the fans, close to the people that are supporting the club.
Yeah.
It's also one of our philosophies to be close to the people that come to the games. Also, regarding our players. We really encourage them after the games to be close to the people that come supporting them.
Yeah.
And so to go to talk to them, like usually after the games, a lot of people stay around the bars, and the players, after they take a shower, they usually come up and have conversations.
It's a family.
It's a family
Atmosphere.
Yeah, and that's one thing kind of we pride ourselves on, and also that the people really like that come to the games, so
Yes.
they really have this interaction, and they don't feel like they really feel like they're part of it. It's not like they feel like they're just there to watch and that's it.
And do you believe that the fact that you have a really good infrastructure, because you actually have the only good court in Switzerland to play basketball, plays a role also in the way you can build relationship with your fans and in this sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're lucky to have this kind of gym in Fribourg. If you look at the other teams, they don't have this kind of infrastructure at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe important to point out that it's not our gym. It's not Fribourg Olympic's gym. It's the gym of the city.
Yeah.
But we have, we are one of the main clubs that are there, and so it's and we have a good relationship with the city as well. They help us, and so it's a very good arrangement. It's definitely one of our strengths, the stadium, and I think we have to use this as a
platform build more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And building platform, and as you know, Oliver, with Common Sports, we are really focused on data-driven decision making.
Yes.
How do you approach this? You are a numbers guy from your experience in ticketing, in finance. How do you apply this now in Fribourg and in your job?
Yeah. So I would say there's two parts to it. The data kind of is one side is like the on the court, right? So today this has evolved so much. It's like these different platforms like Synergy or Instat, where there's video, there's all this data from all the players, all the teams.
Yeah.
And so this is more the coaches obviously that use this. I think
this is more for performance.
It's more for performance. It's for to scout the opponents, to scout different players, even to analyze your own performance as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's very super important tool. I think I'm sure there's still there might still be coaches that don't use this, but I mean I don't understand what I mean.
How is it possible?
No, you have in today's world you have to use this to be like competitive for sure. I mean this is so important. But then on the other side, like on the business side as well, it's very important to be aware of your numbers and everything.
Your streams of income and the expense.
Like just for example, in ticketing, you see, okay, how many people we had at the game, how many people paid, how many were maybe invited, and I mean, you can see all kinds of statistics, right? The same for the bar, for example. I mean, I try to analyze all this, after a certain game, see what we can maybe do to improve.
And can you? Because now we know also sometimes the challenge is to have access to the data on a
it's definitely
systematic matter.
Yeah. I mean, you have to bear in mind, I've only been in this job since August 1st, right?
Yes.
And it's a lot. It's a lot, I mean, I'm responsible for a lot of things. So first couple months are there really to kind of learn the processes, get to know everybody, and all this. So, but this is something I'm working on as we speak. It's kind of to get access to all this data, and also that is kind of like understandable for people, because you can have data, but if it's unorganized, well, no, you can't do anything.
It's useless.
So this is. I mean, I'd say I'm in the middle of the process to kind of have at least the important numbers, after every game. So
would you say now that you are taking over your position as a general manager? So first you get to know the people, how the organization is working.
Yeah.
And now it's a process of trying to structure. But do you believe that the way Fribourg maybe had some access to data was good enough, or you said, okay, we really need to step up the job to have a better understanding? Because this is not only Fribourg, this is in
Oh,
every
yeah.
team. Huh?
No, we definitely have to step up
Yeah.
our game in that part. Yeah, I mean, it's something I'd say it's one of my priorities for sure to organize this better. All the data we have. Also, if we talk about, I don't know, email addresses or address or
Yes.
so it's everything. We have to organize it better.
Yeah.
So that when we need it, we have access to it, and we can analyze where we are at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this process, there's also the aspect of fan engagement.
Yeah.
So it's to connect with your fans.
Totally.
How much are you involved in this process of thinking? Because you mentioned that you have a background in sports management, but you also have a background in marketing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I guess you are in a way involved in creating ways to connect with the fans.
Totally. Yeah, that's totally one of my. It's also a priority. Well, there's obviously different ways of engaging with the fans. Like one thing we're trying to develop is really also the social media side.
Yeah.
And we have. I mean,
we are doing a great job with the announcement now of game day. I see.
No, we have one of my the people I work with. One of my secretaries. She's responsible for that. She's doing a good job, and it's been growing, and we have put a lot of good content out there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we can always improve. Also, that is something when we talk about data. It's obviously important to see, okay, how many people interacted with this post, and that we're trying to
understand a bit better.
Yeah. See what works, see what doesn't, and everything like that.
And do you believe that by doing a good job on social media, it's also a way for you to attract fans, but also to attract sponsors?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think there may be different viewpoints I had. In the summer, I talked to a general manager of a Dutch team.
Okay.
And he told me some kind of conversion, like, okay, if you have this many followers on Instagram, you'll have this many people at your games and stuff. He really was convinced that this is the right formula. I don't remember the exact number, but
yes.
And so I don't know if that's really the truth or not, but
so it's a law of percentage.
I'm sure it has an impact. That's one thing that's for sure. Yeah. So that's where I was going with that, and then I think I just lost my train of thought.
We were talking about connecting the fans and connecting the sponsors. How you could maybe monetize your social media.
Yeah, that's also one thing. Like we are trying to find more, because so in the gym you have spaces that sponsors can use, right? On the LED, on the big screen. You have maybe around the court, you have it on the walls, whatever.
Yeah.
On the jerseys. But we're really trying to expand also our offering for sponsors. And also I always try to think of the sponsor, okay, what is he looking for? Like what kind of exposure is he looking for, right? And I think more and more firms or companies are also looking to be more present on social media. And
is that a request from them? Like they are coming to you and say, Oliver, I want to be on social media, or in a way they are still a bit traditional and say they are very happy with something in the stadium?
Yes, a little bit of both, I would say. At this moment, I think it's more maybe me suggesting it, but then they maybe happily take that offer, because they maybe haven't thought about it or whatever,
Yeah.
But it's something I'm also really trying. That's one thing I'm really trying to develop is like the offering, our digital offering for sponsors. Yeah.
Because from my experience, and I discussed this with a team recently, maybe the amount that you can charge for social media is a bit less. But the fact that you can add them up could actually do a full sponsorship. And sometimes I think this is the step we need to take in order to sell digital. Because so far, and correct me, it's been as a package. Like I sell you a placement in the stadium, but I give you a bit of social media placement. Do you believe this is still the case, or we are finally able to really monetize these placements?
Um, yeah, I would say maybe like you say, the amounts might be a bit lower initially,
Yeah.
but I think once the whole thing gets rolling, and also our follower count maybe
Grow.
grows, and it gets more and more popular, I think it's something that in the future will be probably more valuable than something
Yeah.
in the gym. Because I can already see that. I mean, some sponsors have told me, okay, we might have our advertising on the shorts or whatever,
Yeah.
but nobody sees it anymore. It's like, when you, I don't know, let's say you move to a new place, right? In the beginning, you're all worried, oh, how am I going to put this painting and this, and oh, there's something laying around, this doesn't look good. But after 4 weeks in the place, you don't see anything anymore. It's just
Yeah.
like,
It's
okay,
blended.
a guest will see it, but you don't. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of the point.
So
I
it's,
think.
it's to create the connection between the fans and the partners
Yeah,
by doing this, huh?
yeah. I'm really trying to. I mean, my goal is to talk to the partners to see what they really looking for in a partnership,
Yeah.
because sponsoring today, still a lot of times it's just like, okay, I'm gonna give you some. I'm trying to support the team. I'm kind of trying to, I'm supporting you like this.
Yeah.
They don't really expect much in return, but I want them to get something in return. That's how you also create a lasting partnership.
Yeah. And in Fribourg, how this is going? Like, do you have a really strong partnerships with people around the team? Are you still looking for more partners? How do you address, or how do you try to find a really a network of partners?
Yeah, good point. Um, First of all, we have a person that's responsible for sponsoring,
Yeah.
and
Dedicated person?
yeah,
Yeah.
dedicated person. He's very good at his job,
Yeah.
and he has a lot of contacts. He's more, I would say, a little old school, but he has lots of contacts. He brings us lots of partnerships, lots of sponsors, and but then I think there's also, yeah, we can find new partnerships through these digital, for example, offerings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what I was also going to say is that um, the I'll come back to it right now. I'm doing a lot of talking, I think.
It's all right. That's the goal.
A lot of podcasts I watch, is a lot is conversation, but I feel like this is a very very one sided one. No, but I've had this discussion with somebody the other day, because we have I'd say a lot of sponsors. We have some main ones,
Yeah.
but after that we have a lot of sponsors. Little ones, that give a little bit something, that are present maybe in the gym on a little affiche or something
Board.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really the goal? Is it to have like a lot of sponsors? But I think one thing that happens when you have a lot, it's kind of gets drowned, right? Like some little
Yeah.
sponsor might, it's hard to even recognize or see him. That if you have as a smaller group of big sponsors, everybody gets their share, so to say. And not to say that one is better than the other. It's just a discussion I had recently with somebody, and I thought it was an interesting point.
Yeah.
So
But typically we had the experience with one partner who said, okay, it's not enough that we just have our logo on the promotion of the game. We want to connect with the people. And so in this case, what we try to do is to connect them with banners in the newsletters, or just to have a gamification, so a quest in which we can send them one or two people. So it's actually like driving people to them. And what I realize is that's what actually people are looking for. It's just not to have a just awareness, but is to connect directly with people.
yeah,
And I feel sports in general that's the best way. This is sports is so friendly, it's informal, so you connect with people on a very easy basis. And maybe that's what we need to do to step up the way we commercialize a bit the sports. Is that I think we haven't realized the potential that we have in our hands of connecting people together and communities. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. Community is a big one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really sports is there for to create community, right? Especially team sports, right? So
Yes.
it's already a little community on the field, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about ourselves. Yeah, we're a big family and whatever. And this is really something that you want to incorporate, and you want to have this as one of your values, right? And,
Yes.
yeah.
And within that community, you have a local community. But now that you said you want to grow, you want to go to Europe, do you believe that going to Europe also will attract international sponsors or national sponsors that will help you go in that direction? Or it's not that easy? Or, in other words, you build with the local community, you stay with your local community. That's how the club is gonna grow.
Yeah, I mean that is the goal, to also attract national
International.
sponsors.
Yeah.
But yeah, the basis for us
Yeah.
is and will always be Fribourg. I mean, it's one of we have four core values, I would say.
Yeah.
It's let me see if I can.
That's a
it-
good.
no, it's excellence,
Yeah.
humility, Fribourg. I mean,
That's a
so
value.
that's a value. I mean, which is like low. I guess stay local, kind of. Always
Yeah.
like have this in mind. And the last one is in French, formation. So kind of like
Yes.
training. I mean, I kind of take it as always evolve, always get better, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And so you had the chance also to have these international experiences when you were a player. So you played in France. Uh, do you believe that Switzerland, more as a platform, has a role to play in Europe to develop youth and maybe send them to the next level? Because we have a few guys, and we have
yeah,
three amazing players who went to the NBA. We
yeah.
have Tabo, we have Jamal George, we have Glyn Capella, who were able to make that jump.
Yeah.
Is it only exceptions, or Sweden could play a role in building youth?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think for a country like ours, it's pretty amazing that we have we had or have
Yeah,
three NBA players,
incredible.
Yeah. But if you look at their journey, nobody was in Switzerland when they got drafted.
Yes,
I mean,
they went through France. Huh?
it's unfortunate, but I mean, even when I see a young talent, I tell them, yeah, I mean, you have to get out of Switzerland to really develop.
Develop in terms of skills, or just to get the exposure, the media exposure, to be scouted and to be detected?
Both. I mean, but even more so skills. Just as a young player, you need a certain like structure.
Yeah.
You need good competition around you so you can get better. You can learn from better players. You can learn from vets, maybe experienced players, and also kind of that mentality. You need that. So I think in Switzerland we're not at this
This stage yet?
stage yet. I mean, there's efforts from certain clubs, also the federation,
Yeah.
to more and more develop players, but yeah, at this point, we're definitely not there. I mean, if you talk about the three NBA players, they all went to France, right? France has a very good programs for young players, to
Yeah.
really develop. Me personally, I went to the States to college,
Yeah.
and that's also a route that lots of young players are doing.
Yeah.
Which, yeah,
And
you develop over there as a player, but you also have another experience you develop as a person. So I mean, to me,
do you
there's a
believe
lot
now
of
you have in a way a role to play, as especially being a general manager with Fribourg, to give that, to share that knowledge to youth that going through your organization, to help them?
definitely. I mean, I think it's Well, let me see how to answer this. We have we as Fribourg Olympic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I work for Fribourg Olympic basketball, so and we only have one team, which is the professional team.
Yeah.
Then there's the academy
Yes.
that used to be one thing, but we kind of split, and now it's under two different directions.
So now it's not under the same roof.
It's not under the same roof. No.
Okay.
I mean, there's certain we work together.
Yeah.
I mean, but so
Can you maybe explain, because
Yeah.
there's the association, right? And what's a bit unique about Fribourg, you create a company, right?
Okay.
The
Yes.
LLTD, which is managing the association. That's kind of a bit unique.
It is, yes. So about when was that? Maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The then president decided that's the thing to do. We're going to create. It's called FOB Management
Yeah.
SA. So to be it. So all the administrative staff is hired or is employed by the SA.
Yeah.
And the team is employed by the association, so by the club.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was done for different reasons, but yeah, as of now, this is how it stands, right?
Yeah.
And then, but then another entity now is the academy that
Yeah.
used to be part of the club of Fribourg Olympic, and so, but this is something I really want to bring closer together, or
Because this aspect of structure, I see it everywhere. Like typically in Genève, in Genève Sport,
yeah,
they find a way to structure their organization with a foundation,
mhm.
and then which owns the different clubs which are incorporated under LTDs, for
Okay.
instance. And then the different clubs are operating the sports side. And then there's a marketing or management side
Okay.
overseeing this different
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah.
And I feel now clubs, they are thinking of ways of acting differently or managing their clubs differently in their way. So your example, I think it's inspiring in a lot of ways. And I know clubs in basketball are looking up to Fribourg about this way of operating. Then you have also Geneva, who found a way to operate a bit differently. And there's other clubs also who wants to, in a way, not incorporate the youth movement as a company, keep it as an association for some financial or subsidies reason.
Yeah.
So I feel that now there's really a shift also in the sports industry of how we want to structure the management of these companies. And in a way, that's companies. We are more looking towards structuring companies rather than clubs. Huh?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, because there is in professional teams, there's obviously a business side to it, right?
Yes.
And so that gets more exploited with this kind of structure.
Yeah.
But we were talking about youth development,
Yeah.
right? So in that case, I think it's, in my opinion, we should have every professional team should have their own youth development program. You know,
Yeah.
I think that would really help the Swiss basketball landscape a lot. You know, I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not telling Swiss basketball what to do, you know, but but in my head, I think it would make sense if they support the teams to help them build their own structure to develop talent, and I think that would really develop basketball also in this country.
And what would you say to a young guy who is going to watch our episode and he's playing basketball and and he wants to make a career, and maybe at first as a player, but maybe one day as a general manager? What would you tell him? Because your path was not, as you said, direct.
Yeah.
What would you tell him to do?
So right now we're talking to become a general manager, not to become a player, or
But the path, because your path was, well, you have a passion for basketball.
Yeah.
You had the chance to be a pro.
Yeah.
So this is already pretty amazing.
Yeah.
How would you advise him to lead his career to make sure that he has he has his fun and he has a good experience?
Yeah. Well, I think if you have passion for whatever you do or whatever you're trying to do, you will work hard at it no matter what, right? So that's the whole point. But then I think what it's super important is to be ready when you. I mean, for me, like you have to be ready when that opportunity comes.
Yeah.
So for me, okay, I was looking to work in sports. I tried for uh, many years, after my career to work in sports. It didn't happen. So I eventually had to pivot and do something else.
Yeah.
But I think the point is, whatever you do, even if it's maybe not your passion, try to do it as good as you can to develop yourself as good as you can.
Yeah.
And eventually somebody will notice, if you do above and beyond what's
Yes.
expected, eventually somebody will notice and you will get that opportunity maybe that you're looking for, but have it in mind, like it's something like the law of attraction, right? You have to really also visualize it and see
Yeah.
it becoming true. But you have to be patient also. It's not just going to happen, it might not happen from one day to another. Maybe it only happens in 10 years or whatever,
Yes.
But I think it's super important to what you do, try to do it good,
In everything you do.
Yeah, yeah. If possible, have, everything is easier to do when you have passion for it, when you like, even if it's maybe a job you don't like. I'm sure there's stuff you can find in
Yeah.
it that you do like, and kind of concentrate on these things.
Yeah. And do you think now you've been very passionate? You also told me that it was not easy to find a job in sports because in Switzerland it's not maybe as developed as other countries.
Mhm.
It's also a question of network, of knowing the right people.
Yes, that was something I should have mentioned as well. Yeah, that's
So,
definitely very important.
so how do you maintain your network, develop your network, even though for a couple of years you were in the States, so you were not really connecting to basketball in Switzerland?
Totally, yeah. I mean, I kind of lost touch during that time a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah, I have to admit, I wasn't really focused on basketball too much anymore. At this
yeah,
point, I was barely even following the Swiss league. I was just,
yeah,
I had other priorities, right? But that happens. But yeah, networking is definitely a thing. It's not easy for everyone. Some people are more introverts, some people are more extroverts. But I think it's not necessarily the quantity, the number of people you talk to. It's kind of like, okay, find the people you want to meet, you want to have a relationship with, you want to and develop something with them,
yeah.
and eventually that will help you. They will gladly help you in achieving your goals. So that's kind of, yeah.
Do you believe in
Take.
Switzerland we have enough opportunities to meet other people in sports? For instance, we have maybe Swiss sports managers, which is an association to meet other professionals. We have also fairs in St. Gallen. Here in Lausanne, we have ThinkSport.
Yeah.
Do you think we have enough, or we need to have better opportunities?
Mm, yeah, I mean, hard to say. I mean, if there's nothing I think you got to create your own,
Yeah,
opportunity. Yeah. There's so many ways to contact people these days, there's LinkedIn, obviously. So I think we don't always have to look for outside sources
yeah,
to, to do that for you,
yeah,
So I think you got to take initiative and do what you got to do. But maybe one organization I want to give a shout out to, so to say, is like Athletes Network. I don't know if you're
yes.
familiar with Athletes Network. Yeah.
I know very well Danilo Vis.
Okay, Danilo Wies, yeah. So I think they're doing a really great job.
Yeah,
But I mean, I don't know if for the listeners, everybody knows what it is. I'll just explain it in a couple
yeah, sure.
sentences. It's like we talked about before, that transition from being an athlete to actually then having not a second professional career.
Yeah,
It's kind of to help athletes with that transition and
yeah,
and connecting them with like the companies
yeah.
and so to say, or also with schools or whatever they need, and also kind of bring forward the value that former athletes can bring with their athletes
Yes.
mindset, so to say. So I think they're doing an amazing job. uh, it's
It
it's
is
it's
actually quite unique in Switzerland the way they do it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I've been with them since kind of the beginning. I
Yeah.
saw that also when I was actually, I think, in Mayad on the island for the first time, online. One of the founders is Benny Huckel, which is
Yeah.
a former
FC Basel
FC Basel player.
and Swiss national team
Yeah,
player.
yeah, one of my idols, and yeah, so they're really doing a great job over there, and especially all current and former athletes, I encourage them to join this
Yeah.
organization. It's free for the athletes, and also companies, they more and more they're interested in joining also this organization because they want to
Absolutely.
have that exposure and also the connection, because companies are looking to get into sports. That's an example for it. So
Yeah.
you just have to attract them in the right way, be it as a club or as
Yeah.
something else.
But I met Danilo actually a couple of months ago, and it was really a very nice meeting with him.
Yeah.
And then I introduced them to the Foxes, the Lausanne Foxes,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and they started to do a partnership. And I think it's so important because for an organization, it's also maybe a way to find opportunities for their players, but at the same time, it's building their careers. And I think the way they position Athletes Network really answers to these kind of needs. So
Yeah.
I feel this is really, really important. And going even further is and talking about networks is also how do you qualify your networks? Is how do you make sure that you can talk to the right people and you connect to the right people? And I would like just to circle back to the aspect of data, because this is, I think, one of the most amazing things about data, as long as it is organized and in a very with a purposeful way, is that you can create amazing things. But if you have just a network and it's not structured, then it's hard to connect people together. And so I think the way Athletes Network is doing, they have a platform, they know to whom they should speak, so the athletes, the clubs, and the companies, and they do then a great community management job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this is very interesting. And at the same level, a club or a sports organization is doing the same thing, but with different stakeholders, with the fans. There's the administration, and then the partners, and creating this network, creating the collaboration, so we can move forward. I really believe this is where we also heading in the way we build sports and communities in the future.
Totally.
Do you agree?
I totally agree.
Great. I think we are coming to the end, Oliver. Thank you so much for taking the time. First of all, I know you have it's December. It's very busy, so I really appreciate. And
No
you have a lot of things to handle, especially with the upcoming games. So I appreciate very much, and I'm looking forward to see you again on the court.
I appreciate it. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Oliver.
Yeah, right.